What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to College Football Talk with Peter Burtonette, and today I'm going to be bringing some schedule news as we start to reach that point of high anticipation for the college football season. Before I get into this news, it's going to be a shorter video. If you go on to enjoy, please feel free to leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you're always up to date. And don't forget to pass this video along to somebody else who you think would benefit from hearing about these schedule announcements. So, couple of schedule announcements came out yesterday on Monday of this week, and I'm going to get things started right from the start of these games. They were game times and networks announced. Some of these are expected or already announced and were more so just confirmed. Some of them are maybe a little bit of a surprise, but I think they are making for some really good matchups. August 24th, week 0. Obviously, this isn't going to include everything that's been scheduled. These are just the big games. Florida State against Georgia Tech, that is the one in Dublin, Ireland, is going to be televised by ESPN. I think the last couple years, Fox got that game, if I remember correctly, so ESPN gets that one this year. Then Thursday, August 29th, this one is a really interesting one. North Dakota State at Colorado at 8 p.m. on ESPN. And this is not a game that Coach Prime in Colorado can overlook. The Bison have proven that they can hang with FBS teams. They've done so well at the FCS level. Of course, recently, kind of overtaken by their rivals to the south, South Dakota State. Jackrabbits back-to-back FCS national champs. But the Bison are still a very tough team, and I think this is going to be a fun one to watch on Thursday night of the full opening weekend of college football. Then on Saturday, opens up with College Game Day in College Station as Notre Dame opens up at Texas A&M. This is going to be Mike Elko's first game in charge of the Aggies after making the move from Duke. So that's a storyline. Obviously, Notre Dame has an opportunity to grab an early win. They have a manageable schedule, so you get this win on the road. This could be a game that, looking back by the end of the year, is like this is what sealed Notre Dame's spot in the playoff, because I think they can still afford to lose one of the other a couple of games on their schedule. So that one will have College Game Day there in the morning, and then it's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff on ABC. Now, jumping back into earlier in the day, obviously because that's the first thing that'll be on our screens that day, is College Game Day. Clemson against Georgia, that one is in Atlanta. It's on noon on ABC. Miami at Florida, one of the rivalries in the Sunshine Showdown, will be happening at 3:30 p.m., also on ABC from Gainesville. And then the Notre Dame A&M game I mentioned, and NBC's night game, one of the first, I think they had a couple, they had some last year, but one of their first games covering the Big Ten, it'll be Fresno State at Michigan. So Michigan getting a lot of primetime TV. And then finishing out this weekend, it's one of those full opening weekends of college football before we get the NFL. On Sunday at 7:30, USC against LSU in Las Vegas. Again, at 7:30 on ABC. Then on Monday, Florida State again gets an ESPN window, the team that was just left out of the playoff last year, of course. Boston College, they'll be hosting the Eagles on Monday night at 7:30. That one is on ESPN. So a pretty good slate of games in that opening weekend. Again, out of those, I would say probably North Dakota State at Colorado, Coach Prime's first game this season. I'd expect Georgia to beat Clemson, but you never know. Dabo Swinney's Tigers can maybe hang around in that one. Miami, Florida, two teams that are trying to actually take a step forward. They seem year after year to look like maybe they're going to and haven't for several years now. Notre Dame, A&M, also an interesting matchup. Fresno State, Michigan, I don't expect that one to be very close, but a night game at the Big House is always cool. USC, LSU, two teams that have had good performances the last couple years, but with college football playoff expectations have underwhelmed. This could be a game that puts the winner in the driver's seat for making the playoff. And then Boston College, Florida State, I don't think there's a ton in that one. Then the next week, we have the Fox Big Noon kickoff in Ann Arbor as Texas goes to face the Wolverines. Two college football playoff teams last year. Steve Sarkisian, the lone returning head coach, against Sharon Moore taking over for the Wolverines. This will be his first test as the full-time head coach. Obviously, he had 3 last year with the 3 games that he was in charge, especially against Penn State and Ohio State. So his first test in charge full-time as the Wolverines head coach. And Texas, that one's kind of a toss-up right now. I think If that one is in Austin, I'm probably giving the nod to Texas. I think home field is important. The Big House is certainly a venerable place to play, and I think that one is a toss-up. I'll probably kind of give more thoughts on that one as we get closer to the season. And then the night game, it'll be a big one, close by to where I'm at in Lincoln, Nebraska, as the Cornhuskers host Coach Prime in Colorado. This one is one that I'm very much looking forward to. I know last year both of these two teams disappointed. They both finished under 500, shy of 6 wins in bowl eligibility. But this is a year where both hope the pieces start to fit, and this one could have really high stakes for both teams early on in the season. I think the winner of this game can really use this as a springboard to pick up more momentum down the stretch, of course. Said the same thing last year. Colorado gets the win, and they start really picking up that hype after beating the national runners-up, TCU. Obviously, again, that's a discussion for another time. TCU is not that same team anymore, but still, that's kind of what created that hype, and it built with their win over Nebraska. This year, I do think there's a little bit more true depth to these teams, and the coaches have established themselves. I know in the last video I made, I talked about Colorado, maybe, their culture and calling out guys who transferred away from the team, but this matchup will be electric. I've been to one night game here at Memorial Stadium, and it can certainly get pretty electric under the red lights at Memorial Stadium, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Then, the next week, we have a couple of games that were also announced. Alabama at Wisconsin will be the big noon kickoff game on Fox that week, and Notre Dame at Purdue is another one of those 3:30 CBS kickoffs. And then this kind of concludes this part of the video. I'll pop up a couple of other information at the end of this video, but this is from that last game and these next two from Brent McMurphy. September 21st will be USC at Michigan. This is week 3. 3:30 p.m. on CBS. This is, to me, it feels like CBS didn't really get a marquee Big Ten matchup because obviously they still had their contract with the SEC. I might be wrong. I might have to go back and look at that, but this one really feels like the first marquee matchup for the Big Ten on CBS. USC joining the conference this year, going up against the defending national champions and obviously Big Ten champions. So that one has a lot of excitement to it. The quarterback at USC, Miller Moss, had a really good bowl game, and I think this will be an opportunity for him to go into a really tough environment and see if he can prove if he's, the next guy at USC. And the Big Ten championship game will be 8 p.m. Eastern. All these times that I mentioned are Eastern on CBS. And, of course, officially official, the game, Ohio State hosting Michigan this year, will be noon on Fox on the final Saturday in November. So that's all the schedule announcements. Again, I'll pop up. There's a little bit more information about, I think, the CW hosting or televising some games. So I'll pop up that information here. But if you've watched to this point in the video, thank you so much for taking the time to watch College Football Talk. And stay tuned for later this week. I might not have a video the day it comes out, but I will certainly have a reaction to the EA Sports College Football 25 reveal that is coming very, very soon. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Peter Burnett, signing out. Peace.